A lot of dough, a traditional Caucasian tandoor oven, homemade ingredients, and the magic of pristine nature. Stay tuned, dear adventurers, for a feast of laughter and flavor awaits. Greetings from the captivating realms of Azerbaijan, where vibrant, clear streams dance gracefully amidst awe-inspiring vistas and the freshest of air. Get ready for village chaos, slippery stones, and cooking surrounded by pure nature and funny animals. Today, I want to share with you a recipe that combines tradition and modernity. We will be making a giant village pizza in a tandoor. This dish is not just food, it's part of our culture, our soul. Let me tell you a little about the tandoor. A tandoor is a type of oven. Its feature is a special method of cooking. Dishes are cooked without fat, using the heat from the heated walls. It turns out incredibly tasty and healthy. The main meat ingredient for pizza will be chicken legs. Don't forget to give a big thumbs up to this video, get notified, and subscribe to our channel to see more interesting videos and learn more about the culture and traditions of Azerbaijan. First of all, we will singe our legs using a gas burner. This way, we quickly remove the fine hairs from the bird's skin and completely eliminate any feathers and down that remain after plucking. For our dish, we need to pour a little water into the cooking container. We will then place our legs and spices in it. We start with salt, generously sprinkling it into our water and mixing it with our hand until the water becomes cloudy. Next, we place our legs in this solution and cover them with a tray. Well, it seems today I will be without helpers. They find it much more interesting to sleep than dive into cooking with me. Meanwhile, I pour corn oil into the spice container. You can check out our assortment in the store. Who knows, you might find something that impresses your friends and makes your neighbors beg for your cooking secrets. In the meantime, I have already added paprika, ground black pepper, turmeric, and a little more salt to the oil. It never hurts to add some extra. It's no wonder they say Azerbaijani cuisine has a special flair. What beauty I live in. An autumn foggy day, a flock of ducks greeting along the quiet river, and I continue to cook. Nothing unusual. Our next step will be adding grated garlic to the spices. Let's not skimp on garlic, we'll add quite a bit. It effectively protects against the harm that fatty foods can cause to health and also strengthens the immune system. The sounds of nature always set me up for productive cooking. And who has hopped over to us? Thank you for finally waking up, so I won't be lonely in the kitchen. Meanwhile, we thoroughly rinse our chicken legs from the saline solution. Why did we need to keep them in there at all? The saline solution penetrates the meat, altering its structure and additionally saturating it with water. Also, salt tenderizes the meat. Who is lying here next to the chicken legs? Well, no, buddy, you'll have to wait a bit. Now, we pour our spice marinade over the chicken and mix everything well with our hands. Look at the bright color of the marinade, and no chemicals, just natural components. Meanwhile, the fog is thickening above me, which means rain is coming soon. But it doesn't scare me. There's no such thing as bad weather for cooking. In the meantime, we are preparing our tandoor for work. Tandoors are not just ovens. They embody centuries-old traditions. Our ancestors cooked in them, and I am sure that their spirit lives in every piece of bread baked in a tandoor. I have already started the fire. Now, all that's left is to fill our tandoor with branches and wait for it to heat up to a sufficient temperature so we can start cooking. You know, since childhood, I have loved the aroma of burning and smouldering branches. It takes me back to the good times spent with my family and loved ones. Meanwhile, I'm hanging our chicken legs on the grill using hooks. Today, I'm expecting guests for a family lunch again. Hospitality is one of the main values in Azerbaijani culture. Guests are always welcomed with open arms, and treating them to dishes is considered an important ritual. Therefore, I prepare especially responsibly for each gathering of guests. Our legs are in place, which means we can soon place them in the tandoor. Oh, the buzzards have arrived. They've caught the scent of meat and are now trying to grab it for themselves. Of course, I want to treat you to something delicious, but you'll have to wait a bit. Life goes on while your humble servant continues his thorny path to yet another culinary masterpiece. The tandoor is almost ready to use, and soon our meat will go inside. The fluffy tails are following me closely today. They seem very interested in my dish. We press the remnants of our smouldering branches to the bottom of the tandoor, covering it responsibly from the side, and go get our legs. What an appetizing sight! I can't wait to try them when they're ready. There's no meat here, buddy. Don't even look. It's time to place our grill with the meat into the tandoor. We do this very carefully so as not to touch the food. Done. We cover the grill with a lid and wait for our first dish to cook. Meanwhile, I move on to another important moment: gathering wood dust. This is an eco-friendly resource without chemical additives that allow you to easily achieve perfect flavor and a soft smokiness when smoking. Instead of buying it at a markup in the store, you can gather it yourself from a stump. Look at how much dust we've already collected. Just right for our tandoor. Have you already left your likes under this video? If not, do it right now. This way, you will greatly help my channel get recommended. I collect the wood dust in a bowl and head to our tandoor, but before that, I enjoy the beauty of the misty province. We remove the lid from our tandoor and lift our grill. The chickens aren't ready yet, but the smell is fantastic. Next, we take our dust and sprinkle it on the bottom of the tandoor. We return to the grill and give our meat a little more time to finish cooking. It takes about 30 to 60 minutes to cook chicken in a tandoor, but don't worry, we'll have plenty to occupy ourselves during that time. The mountains are more beautiful today than ever. The fog envelops them from all sides. It seems to float across the sky, delighting my eyes. Meanwhile, I move on to the next stage of preparing our dish. First, we need to wash our vegetables. Don't forget to subscribe to our other social media, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. There's a lot of interesting content waiting for you there. We thoroughly wash our mushrooms and then rinse them again in a bowl of water with added wheat flour. For today's pizza, I chose young champignons. They will give the pizza a rich and intensive flavor, as well as add texture and a special aroma. Today's video is a feast for your eyes, as it is full of unforgettable views and mountain landscapes. Meanwhile, I pour corn oil into a large skillet because it doesn't produce carcinogenic substances when frying, doesn't smoke, foam, or burn during cooking. We send our mushrooms to fry in corn oil, cutting them in half directly in the skillet. We fry them for about 20 to 30 minutes until a golden crust forms. The inspector has come to check our garden and vegetable patch. I hope he's in a good mood today and doesn't find any violations. I'll have to sweeten him up with the most delicious piece of chicken. We add a little more wood dust to the bottom of the tandoor and return our already nicely browned but not fully cooked legs to their place. I can see they need a bit more time for perfect cooking. Meanwhile, we take out the already cooked mushrooms and place them on a plate nearby. The smell is amazing. I'm sure they will taste even better. We try to leave the oil in the skillet. We don't need any extra fat. Look at all that smoke. Soon our chicken legs will be ready. I want you to enjoy this sight a little longer. The little dog is still sleeping. At this rate, someone is going to sleep through the whole lunch and end up hungry. Just woke up and is already back to sleep. What a lazy one. The chicken is ready. It's time to take it out and do a little tasting of the meat. It looks very appetizing. Who will get the most delicious piece? We'll see. Just look at this golden crust. If only I could transmit this wonderful smell through the screen, you would understand why I love this recipe for cooking chicken in a tandoor. Nothing compares to it in terms of taste. And the first piece goes to, of course, our little troublemaker. Is it tasty? I'm sure you've never tasted such tender and delicious meat before. How can we not indulge? Teenagers are like that. The doors to my home are always open to anyone who needs it. My household roams freely across the picturesque territory, and I'm back to lighting the fire in the tandoor for our future pizza. We repeat the same procedure as when preparing the chicken legs. There should be plenty of branches, not just thin ones, but also larger logs. Notice how the weather has cleared up. The fog has dissipated, and now bright sunshine is shining over my plot. Time flies, and it's hard to keep up. While cooking, I don't even realize how much time has passed. This process captivates and enchants me so much. Meanwhile, I'm moving on to preparing the dough for the pizza. For this, I use wheat flour. Pizza is an Italian word, but every country has its own versions of this dish. In Azerbaijan, we love to make flatbreads and pies that can be considered our pizzas. In the tandoor, they acquire a special taste and aroma that words cannot convey. Meanwhile, I've added salt to our flour and mixed it well. Next, we move on to the yeast, adding water and letting it sit for a bit. We add eggs and corn oil to the flour. I always recommend using corn oil for all dishes instead of sunflower oil. And then I add water, a lot of water, and mix everything well. Once the yeast has rested enough, I add it to our future dough and mix everything well again. By the way, don't forget to leave comments asking me to show you how to prepare certain Caucasian recipes or our versions of foreign dishes. Perhaps we will repeat something from this in our next videos. We need to sharpen our knives well. First we cut the olives. By the way, Azerbaijan has long been famous for its olive trees. We cut our olives quite coarsely, otherwise they will get lost in the pizza and won't release their unique flavor. And don't be afraid to experiment with toppings. Pizza is your canvas. You can add whatever you like. We place our olives in a separate bowl. Next, we move on to cutting bell peppers. We slice them into thin rings, preferably adding red and yellow peppers, as these varieties won't give the pizza a bitter taste. And I sincerely advise you to always involve your loved ones in cooking. A common endeavor, especially something like cooking delicious food, always brings people closer together and generally improves relationships. I've already transferred the chopped peppers to a separate bowl and am moving on to cutting the tomatoes. I'm slicing them into rings. An interesting fact is that, like with other dishes, pizza in Azerbaijan often becomes part of social gatherings. It's a popular dish at parties, family celebrations, and friendly get-togethers. The chopped tomatoes are sent to a third bowl. The vegetable ingredients for the topping are ready. You can enjoy their wonderful appearance. Now we move on to cutting out the meat. We cut all the pieces of meat off the legs, leaving them completely bare. They will be fed to my animals. We chop the chicken finely, just like shawarma. The little rascal is already begging for his portion, and he will get it very soon. Look at how much meat is on the bones. These are not the same legs served in restaurants. By the way, I love pizza with chicken, even though it's far from the most classic interpretation of this famous Italian recipe. What's your favorite pizza? Write your answers in the comments. Well, the bones with small pieces of meat have flown under the table, which means someone will finally get full and stop circling like a vulture over my food. Enjoy your meal, buddy. I hope you're thrilled with my first dish. And someone continues to sleep, despite the smell of his favorite chicken. It's a pity that I'll have to give all the bones to those who are more active today. We've already cut all our meat and are now placing it in a separate bowl, just like we did with the vegetables. I decided to be kind to my furry friend and brought him the bones with leftover meat myself. He started moving as soon as he saw the food. Oh, lazy one. He waits for everything to be served to him like a king on a plate. Unbelievable. Meanwhile, we continue preparing the ingredients for our pizza. We take mozzarella cheese. I chose it as a nod to the fact that our dish today hails from Italy. And grate it finely. We need a lot of cheese. He's already eaten and is right here. That's what my buddy needed to finally wake up. Full little family members are a delight to my eyes. Never forget to share your culinary masterpieces with your pets. Not only will they enjoy it and find it delicious, but you'll also get an eloquent response on their faces about how your dish turned out. In the meantime, I'm already slicing salami for my pizza. Did you think that our pizza would only have chicken as its meat? Then you probably forgot which country you're in, where meat is always added in large quantities. The sun is shining outside, and my soul feels bright too, as I'm once again doing what I love and delighting others with tasty and healthy recipes. Never forget about parchment paper for baking, otherwise your pizza will be ruined, and you won't be able to peel it off the bottom of your dish. Since I planned to make a giant pizza today, I had to use a whole bunch of parchment. It seems my buddy isn't planning to sleep anymore, and is now waiting for a taste of the pizza too. I love listening to the sounds of nature. They really help alleviate anxiety and make you feel part of something big and significant. Meanwhile, we are already spreading out our dough. It's important to remember that it should be soft and elastic. If it isn't, then either you did something wrong or too little time has passed and it hasn't had enough time to rise properly. These two little troublemakers are begging again. Everything is as usual. The dough is spread out, so it's time to move on to adding the toppings. First, we need to spread ketchup all over the dough to give the pizza a juicier and spicier flavor. We spread all our ketchup using a pastry brush. Then we definitely make small holes with a fork. Why? So that our dough can breathe, meaning it rises and doesn't crack. The temperature in the oven during baking is high, which increases the likelihood of the dough cracking. And along with that, the filling would be outside the dough instead of inside. Next, we sprinkle our pizza with cheese and then add the meat, followed by the vegetables, bell peppers, tomatoes and olives. After that, we put another layer of cheese, and on top we place salami and sprinkle a little more olives on top. Just look at the beauty we have created. Someone is already eager to play. Don't worry, buddy. I'll finish cooking and definitely dedicate some time to you. Now, it's time to move on to cooking our pizza in the tandoor. For this, we carefully lower it onto our baking tray with the help of a winch, and then attach a beam on which our pizza will rest in the tandoor. We close everything with a lid, and now we just have to wait a bit until it's ready. What do you think? Maybe next time we should cook some interesting dish with pumpkin? Write your opinions in the comments. Look how our pizza is rising. The sight is mesmerizing. The heat from the tandoor penetrates inside and makes the crust crispy while keeping the filling juicy. Well, the time has passed, and it's time to take out our pizza. We do this very carefully, so as not to ruin our masterpiece. All the guests, both small and furry, are already waiting for their tasty pieces. Don't worry, we'll be sitting down at the family table very soon. As always, the gathering is large, but that's not a problem since our pizza is simply gigantic and will definitely be enough for everyone with some left over. So, little tasters, are you ready to appreciate my dish? If yes, then I'm waiting for your honest feedback. But first, everyone needs to sit at the table. Such traditions. I'm cutting large pieces because teenagers have a very good appetite. Well, here it is, our gigantic country-style pizza. Let's give it a try. A piece for you, a piece for you. Bon appetit to everyone. Now it's time for the chef to taste it. Just super.
Super.
And remember, pizza is not just food. It's a moment of communication with loved ones. In today's world, it's important to find time for such simple joys. I see that everyone's faces are satisfied, which means I've pleased everyone once again, and that makes me happy. Don't forget to give a big thumbs up to this video, get notified, and subscribe to our channel to see more interesting videos. And if you want to support our channel, you can check out our assortments in the store. Who knows, you might find something that impresses your friends and makes your neighbors beg for your cooking secrets.
Super.
Wishing you all a great day and seeing you in new videos.